they won't trust non-family managers, and that limits how big even a well-run company can get. In fact, the best-run company in our study, by far, only has one plant as opposed to the modal 2 and or more, because the guy has no brothers. So these are the plants. So we're talking about big companies. Let me make that clear. There's a lot of work going on in development these days with really nano companies. One person in a kiosk, or somebody with one employee. There's a lot of research going on with helping them and seeing what the impact is, and it sort of grows out of the microfinance literature. But these are big companies. So these are typical plants. You can see they're 2- and 3-story buildings. And they operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, just about. And to make cotton, you do 4 steps. First of all, you wind the yarn on these big rollers called warp beams. Then you get them in position and mount them on the machines, which is a major step. Then the warp beam carries the vertical threads. You then weave in the horizontal threads, and then you do quality checking and repair. These plants were unmitigated messes. They're worse than my office. The upper left-hand picture is garbage stacked up and just lying around outside the plant. The upper right-hand picture is garbage lying around inside the plant. The bottom left is flammable garbage piled a meter and more deep inside the plant. And the bottom right is chemicals sitting open with this guy about to fall into them. The plant floors were a mess too. So in this, you probably can't see, but in this picture, this is where the weaving's going on. There's a broken warp beam lying diagonally across the top picture there, blocking traffic. There's a desk and chair in the middle of the aisle. There's equipment that's been brought into place and not put back. In the bottom right, there are tools that have been used to repair things, and they're lying on the floor. And in the bottom left, I don't know exactly what that is, but it's covered a centimeter and more deep in lint, the little bits of cloth. Inventory was unbelievable. This is the inventory in 2 different factories. It's in bags. The bags are not labeled, so you don't know what's inside them. They're in no way ordered, and they're not protected from humidity. Mumbai is a very humid place, and yarn rots. In the right hand, they've piled it so high. There may be a few labels there, but it's piled so high that you can't get to it. And what's more, nobody knows what's there. And in the bottom here, you can see these cones that have been crushed. Well, a yarn cone that's been crushed, you can't use it. The only thing you can do is unwind the yarn and wind it back onto a proper cone. Spare parts, same story. Stuff just lying around. They don't know what they've got, where it is. The bottom left picture is the best. Those are spare parts just lying there outdoors. So these firms are terribly managed, at least by these criteria. But they do appear to be typical of large manufacturers in the BRIC countries. The upper distribution is our actual firms. The second one is Indian textiles as a whole. The third one is Indian manufacturing. The fourth one's Brazil and Chinese manufacturing. So the distribution of management practices under the Bloom Van Reenen things, there's about, we got a representative sample. So what do we do? We started out and we found all the woven cotton companies in Mumbai with more than 100 and less than 5,000 employees. We wanted at least 100 so that there's a real management problem, so one person can't run the thing. And we didn't want too many because those would likely be multinationals, and we know from other research, A, that they're typically very well run, and B, we wouldn't be able to get anything and have any impact on them. We selected the 66 firms in one largest geographic area to, essentially to cut down on travel costs. And we contacted every one of them and offered them free consulting. About half indicated interest in free consulting, which is part because a lot of them thought they were really well managed anyway and didn't need it. And perhaps they were suspicious that we might be trying to get the goods on them and turn them into the government. Of those, we then went forward and we asked them for a commitment of 1 day a week of senior executive time, which brought it down to 17, 17 firms with 28 plants. Okay. So it's a small sample, but on the other hand, we have, as I say, weekly data for 2 years across these firms. So, if you think of it more as a time series than a cross-sectional study, it doesn't look so bad. And also, we've spent well over $1 million already, so if we'd had a bigger sample, it'd be out of the question. We brought in a team of 6 consultants from Accenture in Mumbai to help improve practices in these companies. And what we did, we focused on, what we were doing was very time consuming. So we actually focused on 20 of the 28 plants. We call them the on-site plants. They were treatment and control. We gathered, in each of them we did a month kind of diagnostic, figuring out what was going on, helping them collect data, and so on. And then in the treatment firms, the consultants stayed around on a almost full-time basis for, they were full-time, so they were in each company a couple of days a week for 4 months. And then with the off-site, the other 8 plants where we weren't gathering performance data, we still managed to gather data on management practices and on IT and organization, because those don't change as quickly and you can pick them up from over time. So performance regressions have 20 plants, the others have 28. You can't conceivably read this, but this is what happened was the consultants developed a list of practices that would improve, they expected to improve things. So, and these were in factory operations, quality, inventory in particular. So I'll just read the first few. First of all, is preventative maintenance carried out for the machines? Or do you just wait till they break down to fix them? Do you do the preventative maintenance in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations, or do you do it in an ad hoc fashion? Is machine downtime recorded? Are the reasons for downtime recorded? Are the reasons analyzed and action plans created to do something about it? Okay, so these are simple things. Even in a room full of economists, you might think this is sort of normal stuff to do. Quality defects are recorded. Quality defects are recorded according to what kind of defect it is. Quality defects are monitored. There is analysis of the defects data. These are 4 different steps.